ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 9 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ 9th ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 6 ಟಿಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವಿವರವಾಗಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಆನ್ಸರ್ಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಟುಡೇ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಯು some information on the lessons given in chapter 6 on tissues. We have 25 questions taken from your textbook, and these questions will be answered by me using your textbook. So in the video there are 25 questions and 25 answers. I request all of you to listen to that carefully, maybe once or twice, and read once or twice your textbook, and then you will be in a position to remember these questions and answers that might help you to write answers in your examinations. Thank you. In this particular video, I have framed 25 questions. These questions are taken from your textbooks, which is present in the chapter 6 at the end of the chapter 6. Some questions I have added. So there are totally 25 questions for which I am suggesting answers. Answers are taken from your textbooks and also based upon my experience. Here you have some questions on plants, some questions on animals, and some questions especially on human beings. But all these are related to tissues. Let us take up the fundamental question, like what is a tissue? This you should know. You know very well, a group of cells that are similar in structure and work together to do a particular function is called a tissue. So, second question, what is the utility of tissues in multicellular organisms? You know that multicellular organisms contain millions of cells. So some of these cells group themselves together, which are alike in structure and function, and they form a tissue. There are many different kinds of tissues in the multicellular organisms. So what is the importance of a tissue? What is the utility? That means tissues provide structural strength and mechanical strength, and also helps in division of labor, that is to perform a different function or a particular function and various functions. Here are some questions on plant tissues. Name types of simple tissues in plants. Answer would be, the types of simple tissues are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma and mesenchyma. Remember the 4 types. I will repeat: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma and mesenchyma. Next question, where is apical meristem found? Apical meristem is found at the tip of the root and the tip of the shoot. Question 5, which tissue makes up the husk of the coconut? Coconut ಅಂದರೆ ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಜುಟ್ಟು ತೊಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ ಆಗಿದೆ? Husk of the coconut is made of sclerenchyma tissue. What are the constituents of phloem? Constituents ಅಂದ್ರೆ different cells ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So what are the different cells in phloem tissue ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, answer is, phloem tissue comprises of 4 types of elements called phloem elements. They are sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. Some tissues connected to human beings. Name the tissue responsible for movement in our body. Number 1, muscular tissue helps, and nervous tissue, and also skeletal tissue, that is bone tissue. All these things, 3 combined together, help in the movement in our body. Explain the structure of a neuron. Neuron structure ಅನ್ನು explain ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. A neuron consists of a cell body which looks like a star with a nucleus and cytoplasm, from which long thin hair-like parts arise. Each neuron has a single long part called axon and many small short branched parts called dendrites. An individual nerve cell is called neuron. It may be up to a meter long. So we will try to know how to write a diagram of a neuron. That is one question normally asked in the examinations of class 9th. Write a diagram of neuron and label the parts. We shall try to know that. Give 3 features of cardiac muscles. You know, cardiac muscles are present in the heart. Features means characters, you can say. They are: 1, heart muscles are cylindrical, branched and uninucleated. They are striated muscle fibers. They are involuntary muscles that cannot be controlled by us. Next question: what are the junctions of a areolar tissue? Areolar tissue are connective tissues found in animals. It is found between skin and muscles. Sometimes they fill up the space also. They found between blood vessels, nerves, and also in the bone marrow. It fills the space inside organs, supports the internal organs, and helps to repair the tissues. This question is repeated in your textbook several times, like define the term tissue. Answer is very simple. A group of cells that are similar in nature or in structure and do the same function. Please remember this. This definition is required forever if you study biology or if you go to medical field. So you must know exactly the meaning of the term tissue. Next question is, how many types of elements together make up xylem tissue? This is connected to plant. Xylem is made up of xylem vessels, tracheids, xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. You know, xylem tissue helps in conducting water from roots to the leaves. If the tree or a plant is about 80 meters long, still the tissue that helps in conducting water is xylem. Then another question is, how are simple tissues different from complex tissues? Simple tissues are made up of one type of cells which coordinate to perform a common function. Complex tissues are made up of more than one type of cells. All these are coordinate to perform a common function. For example, I will give you a simple tissue. For example, epidermis of a plant. Epidermis means outer part of the plant is epidermis. That is simple tissue. Complex tissue means you can say xylem or phloem. Xylem is made up of 4 types of cells, but they do only one function. That function is conduction of water. Epidermis protects the parts inside the plant body. This question is slightly difficult to answer, but if you understand the question, you can do it very well. Question is, differentiate between parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, based on their cell wall. All these are different cells present in the plant. The answer is parenchyma. The cells have thin cell walls made up of cellulose. Collenchyma, the cells have cell walls thickened at the corners due to pectin deposition. Pectin is a kind of a material that deposits in the corner. Then sclerenchyma, their walls are thickened due to lignin deposition. So these three types of cells are present in plant tissues. They have different shapes and structure is slightly different. Next question is, what are the functions of stomata? This is an important question. You should be able to remember the answer. Outermost layer of the cell is called epidermis in all the plants and is very porous. Porous means it has got small pores. These pores are called stomata. Stomata are having two cells which are called bean-shaped cells, are called guard cells, and these two guard cells have a small pore, and all these together called stomata. I will show you how to write a stomata later on. These stomata help in transpiration and also in exchange of gases. This is slightly a tough question, normally not asked in the class 9 students. However, for practice purpose we can do that. Diagrammatically show the difference between three types of muscles. You know there are three types of muscles. You should try to know what they are. Answer is striated muscles. 1. They are connected to bones. They are voluntary muscles. Cells are long, cylindrical, with many nuclei. That is striated muscles. Then smooth muscles. They are found in alimentary canal and lungs. Alimentary canal means in digestive system, and in lungs. They are involuntary muscles. They are spindle shaped and single nucleus. They have only one nucleus. You know second diagram what is given. The third type is called the cardiac muscles. Cardiac refers to heart. They are present in the heart. They are found in the heart. They are involuntary in action. They are branched and have one nucleus. So you should know the difference between these three types. Remember, three types of muscles are there in our human body. They are present in different tissues. Well, this is a specific question normally comes in the class these days. You know, young people are suffering from heart diseases these days. Therefore, this question appears. What is the specific function of the cardiac muscle? Cardiac muscle ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್. ಅದರ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನು? Cardiac muscles are cylindrical, branched and uninucleated, only one nucleus. They are involuntary muscles, means you can't control them. You know when the heart starts beating from the birth, that is when you are in the mother's womb, when you are still maybe 1 month old, when the heart starts pumping, from that date till the last day of our life, maybe somebody may live 100 years, all these days heart starts pumping, which you have no control. Therefore it's called involuntary muscles. They show rhythmically contraction and relaxation throughout life, and what they call pulse. It goes on and on throughout the life. The rhythmic contraction and relaxation helps in pumping the blood to different parts of the heart. That is the function of the cardiac muscles. Next question comes is another question, the same type, but the question is slightly different. Differentiate between striated, unstriated and cardiac muscles on the basis of their structure. See, the same question has been repeated here in a different way. Diagrams are not asked here. Now try to read the question carefully in your textbook. This is a very simple question which say draw a label diagram of a neuron. There is a diagram given here which contains a cell body which looks like a star. Inside there is a nucleus and there is a long structure called axon. At the end of the axon you have branches which are connected to the ends. That place is called synapses. Synapse in singular, synapses plural. I will show you that how to draw a diagram in the next few minutes. Question number 20. Name the following tissue that forms the inner lining of our mouth. Answer is squamous epithelium. Answers are given in blue ink. Questions are given in red ink in all the questions. Second, tissue that connects muscle to the bone in humans. It's called tendons. 3. Tissue that transports food in plants. See, we have come to plants now, suddenly. That's called phloem. Tissue that provides nutrition to cells that acts as also cushion in our body. It's called areolar tissue. Tissue or a connective tissue with fluid matrix. A tissue is called connective tissue that contains fluid materials, and that is blood. You know, blood contains red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and many other materials, and also a liquid called plasma. So this you must remember, that blood is a liquid tissue. Then the next question is tissue present in the brain. What is the tissue present in the brain? You know, brain contains millions of neurons, and neurons form nervous tissue. Question number 21. Identify the type of tissue in the following: skin, the bark of a tree, bone, lining of kidney, tube and vascular bundle. There are 5 areas here. Let's say first one, what is the tissue present in the skin? It is called striated squamous epithelium. Second, the bark of a tree contains cork, protective tissue. Cork is a dead tissue. 3. Bone. Bone contains connective tissue. Some of them are called osteocytes. These cells do not function as a living cells in an adult organism, including man. Then lining of the kidney tubule. Lining of the kidney tubule is made up of cuboidal epithelial tissue. Then vascular bundle. Vascular bundle consists of xylem and phloem. Now we come to the last part of question number 22, 23, 24, 25. Question number 22. Name the regions in which parenchyma tissue is present. See, now the answer will be in the pith of the roots and stems. Pith is the central part of a root or a stem. It is present, parenchyma is present there. When it contains chlorophyll, it is called cholenchyma and found in the green leaves. In aquatic plants, parenchyma contains large air cavities and help the aquatic plants to float. Such type of parenchyma is called parenchyma. See, this is a very complex question. You try to understand there are 3 different answers given in one answer. Try to read this question carefully and answer carefully. Question number 23. What is the role of epidermis in plants? Epidermis is the outermost layer of all the plant organs. For example, a leaf may contain epidermis, the stem may contain epidermis, Flower may contain epidermis. All these contain epidermis. Cells of epidermis forms continuous layer without intercellular spaces. It protects all the parts of the plants. There will be no space between two cells in this particular tissue. Question number 24. How does the cork act as a protective tissue? Cork is the outermost part of a tree like a bark. It's called cork. How it is protective in function? Cork acts as protective tissue because its cells are dead and compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. They have deposition of suberin, a very hard material on the walls that makes them impervious to gases and water. That means water will not go inside them. Next question is complete the table. In your textbook also this diagram is given. In the blue I have completed. You try to know what it is and try to answer this question. We are coming to the end of this presentation. My advice to you for all the 9th students would be try to read the entire questions and answer once, twice or thrice and get a feel of it. First try to know how many questions are given. Then for each question find out how many lines answers are there. These are the things you have to remember. Then you read once or twice the entire thing. It may take more time for you. First reading may take more time because you have to understand the words in that and the meaning in that. You have to understand that. And second reading may be little more faster than the first one. Third should be much more fast. If you keep a watch with you and if it takes 15 minutes for the first reading, you should take 10 minutes for the second reading and 8 minutes for the third reading and 5 minutes for the fourth reading and less than that for the fifth and sixth reading. By the time you complete 8 readings, 8 times you read the entire thing, that will be able to help you remember most of the things, and that helps to keep your answers in the LTM, means long-term memory. Practice this one. My thanks are due to Karnataka textbooks from where I have taken the questions and also answers. Thank you all for listening.